YouTube, Joseph here in his deck profile once again for Malfo. Well, once again, but this time it'll be for Malfos. And I have been trying to record this video for the last 3 times, and boy, has it been foul ball. It's technically my fault that it's foul ball, but I want to give you guys this deck profile. Just a heads up, 5 cards are not in the deck, and I'll get to them when I get into it because I was pretty much like screaming for time constraint, and I wanted to make sure I at least got this out before the end of the month because towards the end of the month, we will be getting we'll be getting all the new stuff in November for Melfos, and I wanted to at least have the deck profile up because I'm testing out all the new stuff for the deck online. So, without further ado, let's just get into the deck profile. For the monsters, I'm running triple steel, triple silver, triple volt flame, and triple gold driver. Gold driver. I don't have my gold drivers. I don't have my last volt flame, which are pretty much 4 out of 5 of the cards that I'm practicing right now. For the deck profile. But Full Flame and Stealing are your 8s. Gold Driver and Silver are your 1 scale. With this deck, you want to generate a big enough scale to summon all your monsters so you can do fusion plays off of them. And the fusion support this deck have is awesome. Like, I'll get to that once I get into the cards because the spells and traps that support Melfos are awesome. An effect that all the Melfos have is that they can pop cards, face-up cards on the board, and then search your deck for those spells and traps and set them. And with Melfos Fusion, which I'll get into when I get into the spells, it pretty much it's one of the best fusion spells in the game. It's not super poly, but it's up there in, like, I want to say top 5 of really good fusion spells because of its secondary effect, which pretty much helps hold on to it as long as you possibly can. So that's pretty much the Melfos. For the supporting cast, actually this is a dual. I actually made this a dual deck. Um, I'm not running what everyone else is running. Like, I'm not running the Blackwing, and I'm not running the Cleave, Monolith, and Scout. I'm actually running photo cannon. Cannon is pretty much a 2 scale search that I can do off of Summoner's Art, which I run in the deck. I could do Monolith and like do tribute plays off of Monolith, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't. I just didn't feel like it was one of those things that I know a lot of people are trying to go into, find fast ways into Infinity to have Infinity on the board, but I feel like Infinity, that just takes a lot of resources to go into Infinity, and I just didn't want to do that. So I just chose Folk Cannon as another target for Summoner's Art. And then, not to mention, it is a pretty big beer when it hits the board. It's like 22. I know a lot of things can run over that, but I like a low scale pendulum monster that has really good to decent attack power, and that's what I get out of Cannon. To support all these, you know, pendulum plays, I'm still rocking the Majester. I'm still rocking the Draco Slayer engine. Double Majester, double Vector, double Luster, triple Master, and 1 Luster. It's pretty much my Draco Slayer, Draco Overlord engine. And plus, these guys are just beaters at that point. And not to mention, you can pop these with your Melfos, and then just put your Melfos put them back onto the board and do your Fusion and Exceed plays and Synchro play. Because this deck with um, you can make a really good board that would scare your opponent with this deck, trust me. And I never want to get rid of Ignister because Ignister can make some really good power plays in any pendulum deck. Literally. For my last monsters in the deck, every monster in this deck pretty much is a pendulum card for this variation. I'm running triple Archfiend Eccentric, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Abductor. Like I said, because you're popping so much with the effects of your Melfos monsters, Abductor becomes really good in this deck. Like, you can set up Abductor start setting up your scales, popping monsters. So she'll get the counters off of the monsters, the other pendulum scale. But then once you start popping cards and then you play your Malphite Fusion, your Summoner Art, stuff like that, she can get to the point where she can search for stuff. You can pop her finally, and then you can go into the wider scale. Of course, Kieran being at one. Kieran is still one of the most broken pendulum monsters out there. A pendulum monster who pretty much is a walking compulse, can't be targeted himself, and can target other cards and bounce them. It's just really good. Not to mention he can't be destroyed by card effect. So the only thing you can really do with Kieran is to run him over, and even then he'll just come right back. And then, of course, Archfiend Eccentric to deal with back row. I love having Archfiend Eccentric because I can pop Archfiend Eccentric, put her into the monster zone, pop a threatening monster, and I know she'll come right back. So that's pretty much my monsters. For my spells, like I said, I'm running triple summoners art to primarily set up for my skills, which is why I have a float cannon. And I've also popped the float cannon once before. Like I've done some plays with Archfiend Eccentric float cannon, like magical adductor, and I got like a ton of cards just off of that. I think I played the adductor, played the float cannon, played the summoner art, I just went for plays. And you can easily do that with this deck, especially with the summoner's art, because that's what summoner's art is here to help. It's just here to help thin out the deck for a lot of your big guys. Next is, of course, now I can finally talk about it. I'm going to talk about Malphite Fusion. Malphite Fusion, of course, like I said, I'm still practicing out cards because I don't have all of my cards together, but Malphite Fusion, one of the most broken fusion spell cards in the game. Malphite Fusion, you can pretty much see Malphiles have fusion monsters. You special summon them using monsters from your hand or field as material. If this card is in your graveyard, you can shuffle it back into your deck and draw one card. That's what makes this card so broke with its archetype, because you can set up for recovery, pop your trap cards, which I'll get into in a minute. Those cards have effects. And then the fact that you can put this back into deck and then have your monsters search for it while they're in the pendulum zone is just crazy. I haven't seen, like, Core, like, I think is the only other card I can really say was so broke as a setup card for a fusion play, because Core, when it was sent to the graveyard, you can add your fusion spell. So you can add El Shaddai Fusion or Shaddai Fusion or FM Shaddai Fusion. I know Core can search for another core, but the fact that you had recovery plays off of cards just made this like really just one of the most broken fusion spells or fusion support spells in the game. Next, my last few spells, I'm running one Draco face off, just because I'm running the Draco engine. And then Raigeki Dark Hole pretty much clear the monsters that you don't want to deal with. So that's the spells. And then onto the traps, earning double combination and double counter. I do see some variations playing triple counter, but that's just that it has been a thought. I just know I'm just gonna have to make the room if I decide to do that. And I know some decks don't run summoner art, which I don't. Like I said, it's player preference on how you want to run this deck. But I wanted to. I love the effects and the plays off of these cards. Malphite's combination. When you fusion summon for a Malphite fusion monster, you can target one fusion. Oh, when a fusion monster is summoned. Oh, okay, that's monster is fusion summoned. So you can even do this like you can even combine this with Odd Eyes, and then get a Malphite monster that was used for that fusion and special summon. That's pretty broken. Then on top of that, if this card is destroyed, you can add a Malphite monster from your deck to your hand. So you can even set up with this, or even blow this up with a Malphite monster in the pendulum zone. Then go get a monster from your deck, and then go into more fusion plays. That's pretty sick. And then Malphite's counter, which is just as equally sick. You can get 3 of these off, get 3 big monsters on the board, and set up for your fusion plays. It says when cards, like even your spell and trap cards, are destroyed, you can special summon a Malphite monster from your deck. And then during either turn, except for the turn when this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish it and then add a Melfos monster to your hand from your extra deck. So yeah, it's just crazy how good of a support this deck got, and a lot of people didn't really see that, but at first. But wow, this is really good fusion setup. Like I haven't really seen this like heroes and shadows. Like I would count Pfeiffer, but Agent Sabers was pretty much downfall for the Pfeiffers. I'm just gonna say that. It's just my opinion, but that's pretty much one of his downfalls. Let's go into the extra deck. I have two Orichalco, two Crimsonite, and two Adamantite. This is pretty much your fusion monsters till next set, because we'll get two more fusion monsters. And boy, I'm gonna have a hard. I'm probably gonna just drop one Adamantite and one Crimson, because I want to focus on Oracle and I want to focus on the other two fusions. One of them is a Pyavris and the other one is a Relinquish, with really high defense and a really good counter effect as well. But with Orichalco, pretty much if you have fusion Melfos monsters on the board, they do double piercing damage. You can take out your opponent real quickly with that. Not to mention if you combine it with cards like what is it? Oh, Book of Eclipse or Swords of Concealing Light. You're pretty much shutting your opponent out. Like it's ridiculous um, in terms of how these monsters just synergize so well that you can pretty much FTK your opponent. No, not FTK, but you can OTK your opponent real well in that combination. Not to mention Adamantite can be. You can use Adamantite in what's it? Oh, Instant Fusion, and you can make instant. You can make rank 5 with Adamantite if you decide not to run Adamantite in the Melfos deck itself. And plus, you can always call these guys back. Next is just the pretty much staples for stuff that I run. One Ignister, two Dinister, and one Magester. This is pretty much the circle of friends for the uh, Draco Slayer engine. When you know, with the Draco monsters, you can pretty much, this is the only monster you're gonna synchro for. Let's just be honest. And then these guys are pretty much here to either back him up or to get more plays out of your Pendulum deck. And with Magister Paladin, you can just start searching for your Pendulum cards anyway. So that's pretty much the Dracos. Following them is pretty much just my one of Pendulum, of Exceed monsters. One Cowboy, one Castell, one Digusto Emerald. Most people say that's kind of stupid because you're not going to really exceed, but trust me, when you start losing support, you're going to really need Emerald real fast. One Dweller, because this is pretty much just to help deal with BA. But I'm just going to get that out there. One Red Eyes Flare. I've only done this when I've had to deal with decks that want to run Soul Charge. If you can get your opponent to where they can't benefit from Soul Charge, Red Ice is one of the monsters to go to. And forcing them, because he can't be destroyed by a card effect, by your opponent's card effect while he has material. But the inflicting 500 automatically to your opponent is just shutting them down completely, because at a point where, if you can beat them down to a point where you can make the Red Eyes, they can't play Warning, can't play Scolding, can't use Soul Charge as a recovery. Like, you want to shut them to where they can't pay life points to do recovery plays. And Red Ice is just one of those monsters to help with that. And then my last monster is Giant Hand, just because I run 4s. So that's pretty much all for the deck profile. I do apologize if it was long, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got everything out of it. And hopefully next time I can give you guys a full deck profile with everything in and not proxied out. So till next time, you guys, this is Uda Extreme signing out. Take care.